just do this, make this very casual and get started. So actually what I'd like to do is start off before, to make this as relevant to you guys, quick intro on me, why I'm even here. And then I wanted to actually just kind of ask you guys a few simple questions that can help guide my direction in what I share with you today. And frankly, after that, would love to get your feedback on what you're seeing. And we're constantly trying to make modifications and improvements to the product. So a lot of the feedback that we get, especially in forums like this, will help us make it better. So, two-way street here. So that's how I wanted to preface it all. I'll start by saying that I'm Preston. I am, as I mentioned, coach previously in public speaking. I was a coach at MIT Sloan. So that's where I ended up doing my degree in business school, which is why I was in Boston before moving out to Seattle. Built TigerTalk with the sole premise of making coaches' lives easier, helping them save time when it came to helping their students perform at their best. So, we've been around for about almost 2 years, and we've got schools all across the country, some in Ohio, even Indiana, Hawaii, colleges, and even corporate training firms who teach adults using our software. And so our goal is to essentially, again, make it as easy as possible for coaches to do their jobs more easily and help people improve. So that's our passion. That's what we like to do. I wanted to quickly just actually go ahead and share my screen and actually go through a little bit of a whiteboarding session with you guys first. So can you guys see my screen? It should have like a whiteboard here. Okay, awesome. So I wanted to just quickly ask you guys and, make this free form. Some of the main challenges or pain points that you guys are currently facing when it comes to coaching. But before I do, I just wanted to poll you guys really quickly. Is any of you not assigning homework, or do all of you assign homework? Could you just kind of quickly tell me?
Our school currently has a ban on homework until after the first semester.
Oh, interesting. Okay, got it. Good to know. And then Peter and Marissa, feel free.
Do you mean like assigning homework through speech and debate, or?
Yeah. So essentially, if we're talking speech and debate here predominantly, but if there are other public speaking courses you teach, that's certainly applicable.
Okay.
I just mean instances where you're assigning a task for a student to do, ideally practice or record themselves outside of your live practice session.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's pretty casual. It's I wouldn't call what we do. Did I just give a thumbs up? Was that me? Did I do that?
Might have been by
accident. I
didn't
even click anything. What's that?
Might probably just by accident.
I know I didn't even press anything. I'm confused. Oh well, thumbs up. Yeah, I guess we don't really assign homework. We don't call it that, but I'll tell a student or have students go practice at home and then come back and show me what they practice. But it's not like a physical turn this in. We've done a couple videos before, but that was really just when we were having virtual tournaments, and that was only really on one occasion.
I've used what's it called, Flipgrid. I've had students do videos of themselves using Flipgrid, and sometimes we'll tell them to do redos of a particular speech from a tournament.
Got it. And on Flipgrid, curious, if that's something that's been, how has the technology been? How has Flipgrid been in terms of facilitating homework? Has it solved your problems perfectly? Are there things that could be better? Just would love your assessment there.
Yeah, I haven't used it. While we've used it, I haven't used it really extensively to know it, to really know it well, compared to some other teachers I know. But I like it because it is very easy to use, I think. And, just for kids to be able to use their phone to record themselves giving a speech and then being able to access it very easily. I think it's a pretty good program.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's good context. And then just another question would be what have been some of the challenges, if at all, that you faced when it comes to giving students feedback on whatever it is that they're doing? Is there any particular challenge you faced in that process?
Time.
Yeah. And
Having the
feel
time.
Say more. What do you mean by that?
Just it's hard to balance teaching because this is not my main job. It's I teach English and then also coaching speech and debate, and then also life outside of school, like I'm planning a wedding and I'm in grad school, and just being able to find the time. And I want to make sure that all of my students are I want to help them grow, and sometimes I think I'm like, okay, but we need to correlate our schedules, because I think the scheduling as well, and coming up with times where we're all available. And I have a couple other coaches who are awesome and helping as well. But I just don't want to see that people are getting exhausted and tied down because of, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. Here I am. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, and I'm a speech and debate coach, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want people to start getting exhausted. I want this to always be something fun. Burnout. Yes. Avoiding burnout. That is what I'm trying to say there.
I got you, Marissa. Very good.
Thank
Very
you.
Cool. Awesome. What about you, Peter?
I think for me, I guess I'm more comfortable in person, and I feel like I can see more, and I can respond more easily, and I can respond more effectively to, let's say a live practice round that I watch in a classroom. I'm pretty sure the feedback that I give will be sort of more accurate and more helpful to the kids, where I don't know that the feedback I gave, for example, on the Flipgrid videos that I saw, I'm not sure how much they took to heart and how much it really helped them to progress. And maybe because we didn't use that as extensively as we could have. But I just worry that, like, when I typing my comments and having them on a screen for the kids to read, I don't think is as effective as when they hear it from me directly.
Got it. So you're saying typing comments is not necessarily as effective because you think that they are losing some of that touch. It's not landing on them, or what about the way it's being delivered online is not working for you?
I guess when we practice in person, it's more interactive, and I can see if they're getting it or not getting it. I can see if they're just kind of blowing me off and just not really listening, and I can then, adjust how I speak to them to get my point across more effectively. But when I sort of type my comments to them, like, I worry that they kind of don't really take them that seriously, and I'm sure that some do, but I just don't know. It just seems to go into the ether, and then like whether or not they appreciated it and whether or not it produced any learning is sort of a guess, to me.
Got it. I appreciate this. So it sounds like, from a kind of summarizing some of the key themes, saving time is a key need when it comes to evaluating students, but it's sometimes very challenging. You've got the idea of how engaging is my feedback, particularly when we're not, live in the same place. You're worried that it's not landing necessarily as well on the students. It's not having the impact you want. Avoiding burnout, scheduling times for those live interactive sessions is tough. Those are all pain points we've heard. And I want to just kind of preface that we actually decided to focus exclusively on we wanted to focus predominantly on helping coaches save time when it comes to evaluating videos of their students. I'll preface this as well by saying that our software is not necessarily something that is used for live coaching. It is not a supplement. It is not a Zoom integration that works sort of to, facilitate live interaction. But what it does is it helps coaches have much better follow through on their live practices. So the way we're seeing it done is live practices could get recorded, and then they could be uploaded into our platform for further follow-up evaluation. So Peter, to your point of, is there enough, touch points? Is there enough, is my feedback landing on me? What I'd say to you is that with our software, the coaches that have used it are using it in conjunction with what they already do to make sure the feedback lands. So I'm just going to cut right to the chase. And honestly, for everyone here, I think for everyone else who wants to view this, now around the 16-minute mark of this video is worth checking out how the product works. So I'm going to just quickly walk you through what you're seeing right now. Again, TigerTalk's main premise is to help coaches save time. The way we do that is you can imagine a student might upload a video, or you could upload a video that a student does. It could be a practice, it could be a performance that was at an NSDA competition, it could be an example video from someone else. When you upload the video, we actually automatically transcribe the entire video. And what I'll point your attention to is what we do is we make it extra easy for a coach to provide feedback. So I'm going to mute the video and just demonstrate how this works. So here, you'll see that there's a highlighted portion of where we are in the actual video, where what's being said. But if I wanted to just quickly jump around, I don't even have to watch the entire video if I don't necessarily need to. I could go in and skim the transcript, identify which portion of the speech we're at, and then basically click at the word. And then that'll jump me to the moment in the video where that word was said. So what'll happen is I can then say, oh, I pause, and notice what happens. I'm typing feedback, and the moment I type feedback, that's the video auto pauses. So it enables me as an instructor to gather my thoughts and make sure I'm saying exactly what I need to say. So if I say, I loved your intro, and I'm just making up a sample comment, I click add, notice the video then replays. So I don't necessarily have to do a ton of mouse clicks and go back to the video. The player stays right there, and I can just go and see all my feedback here. Now, all of this feedback is time coded. It's time stamped, meaning one of the reasons why this is really important, instead of giving like a large Google document that just documents all your feedback, it's all here. And if a student wanted to read, oh, this long comment here, they would just click at that point in the video where that feedback was given to know exactly what they're referring to. So the feedback lands much more on students. Again, the whole point here is to save time on coaches. So you're using the transcript to maybe not even watch the entire video, just focus on a portion of it. You're able to give feedback in a way that's very rich so that it helps the student really understand what's being said. And they can respond. They can, you can take this recording perhaps from a practice and then bring it back into here and spotlight it for other students to see during the next live session, for example. So there's a lot here, but I'll finally share one other piece, which is we also track an AI to this. So we track how many filler words were said, which filler words were said. So really, like, only, right, certain words that might be extraneous, we highlight in red, and we show you exactly in the transcript exactly where they are. It's up to the students to see, or the coach to determine whether or not that's useful, but we make it modular so you don't necessarily have it blasting in your face. You could click this tab and see, but we show pace metrics across the entire portion of the speech. Oftentimes we're seeing the videos with the most engaging positive feedback are around 120 to 150 words per minute. And so you could actually benchmark that if you'd like and see how the pace varies over time. We even indicate how many pauses were in the video of at least 2 seconds. So it doesn't necessarily say whether the pause was effective, but oftentimes if you're not pausing enough, you could at least tell. And so this is a quick way for students to just kind of track against themselves. Okay, well, how is my delivery? Am I engaging? Am I performing at the pace that is generally engaging? So again, it's the AI here plus your coaching all in one platform. And I'll pause here, it's a lot, but it's, again, the idea is to help coaches save time by leveraging the transcript and the time-coded feedback. Any immediate feedback you have here, or questions, thoughts on what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think it's great that when you start typing, it stops playing immediately without my having to do anything else. And then when I, press return and record the feedback, it resumes playing automatically. I think that's pretty useful functionality, I guess.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and I think the analysis of the filler words too. I think that could be very, very helpful to debaters. Yeah.
Marissa, any feedback from you?
I'm just taking notes as we go on, like, ideas I have as I watch.
Yeah.
And I like that it provides a timestamp for your comments, because sometimes it's hard to be like, can you go back to when you said this word? Because and so it's nice that it has a time stamp, and then we can go back to that specific moment.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing to note here is that if you ever wanted to facilitate peer feedback, a lot of times coach will get that for their whole team. And so they could upload or record their own videos, and they could just click the share button, it copies the link, and anybody, it could be literally anyone, it could be their parents, it could be members of their team, they could just receive that link and they would go jump right into this page without necessarily even having to sign up, and they could give their own feedback. So we're trying to facilitate peer feedback in a very easy way. Again, leveraging the transcript. Another useful thing, especially for certain events, less so for extemp, but definitely for oratory, depending on the events you coach, this transcript is actually very useful for some particular events where you want to craft exactly what it is that you're saying. So we have teams actually for now, and we're seeing if this is useful, copy and paste the transcript into a separate Google Doc for them to wordsmith themselves and then rehearse it again. There are certainly ways that you can leverage the transcript to really drill in and refine what it is that you want to say.
So on that point, how accurate is the transcript? Is it,
It's a great point. So, the transcript is certainly, it's generally quite accurate. We have it about 90 to 95% of the words are taken in correctly. So it is, and it's leveraging AWS transcription. It's kind of regarded as best in practice for now. At least, as technology evolves, it may change and we'll have to adapt. But, there aren't necessarily perfect. It's not perfect in every way. It certainly works better when you upload a video than if you record directly into our camera for any particular static that will be picked up. But I'd say the broader point here is the transcript is really directional. It is most helpful for directional purposes, right? Leveraging it to go exactly where you need to provide feedback at a certain point. That's where it's helpful. But when you do want to wordsmith, it just certainly gives you enough to work with and at least, get a good start instead of having to transcribe it yourself manually.
And I have a question about the peer feedback. So when they're given a link and then they're brought into this page, when they leave a comment, does it show up different than if a coach leaves a comment? How does that work?
Correct. So it would show up as anonymous. If they are not signed in, they don't have their own account, it would not have their name attributed to the comment. So that's why we're essentially encouraging, and the way it's very simple. Like if a coach gets a license, they can just provide invite links for students to sign up and create their account, and then they would be identified in whatever it is that they comment.
Is it a cost, an additional cost per student?
No, it's not. We don't charge on a per student basis. We actually do sort of like tiers. So if you're up to like 100 students or up to 250, that's sort of how we do it. So it's not necessarily by that. And we don't necessarily cap by number of recordings either. It's just sort of like a standard fee that we have on licenses. But anyway, we can get more into that later. I did want to actually jump to another crucial part here just to show you how we help coaches save time. So you notice the way we've organized this is like helping you manage your students. So you could create your own groups or, folders where, it's based on by event. I wanted to show you that this is one cool feature that just helps coaches keep track of how their students are doing. So this is a sample, but imagine you have tons of students that are listed in a particular group. Now you can move them easily between groups. That's very simple. If they are competing in multiple events, you can have them just exist in one group, whatever you like. But you can see here that we have the number of speeches that they've ever recorded on or uploaded on the platform, as well as the feedback that might be needed. So it tells you right away at a bird's eye view, okay, which students need feedback, which students probably need a re-encouragement to upload something. You can stay on top of them with this. As well, we provide email notifications to coaches as soon as a video has been uploaded, so you can stay on top of that. Students will get email notified as soon as a coach provides feedback, so there is at least some awareness there and accountability that's held. But when we go into this particular student, Alicia, you'll see here that, for this is a coach's dashboard. So at the top, you'll see all of her submissions that she's had, whether they've been given feedback or not, and in this case, they have been. And you can also create prompts or assignments that essentially guide the student on what it is that they need to do. So I could, for example, create a simple prompt to Alicia saying, record a 1-minute intro. And then I click OK. And then that shows up here. And then I can just notify her to record. So there would be an automated email sent to her she would click on a link, she could upload a video and just go right in there. Now I don't know if you guys can also see this link, this window here of, it says, welcome back, Alicia. Okay, great. So this is the student view. So the student view would be, they have their own dashboard. It contains all the videos that they've ever recorded or uploaded onto the platform, as well as any video that a coach uploads on their behalf. And you notice now there's a prompt. Remember that prompt I put in? If she were to click that prompt or the email with a link saying record a 1-minute intro, she would be taken right here. And essentially she could record herself or upload the video, do an audio only recording if she wanted to, and it would just go right here. We would transcribe everything just as you saw before, and then you would be notified as soon as that has been recorded for you to go in and report and review. So the idea here is we're trying to make it super simple for students to know exactly what they need to do, and for you guys to stay on top of each other when it comes to managing students, especially a large number of students. Any questions or thoughts here?
So they can record themselves directly through their portal into TigerTalk?
They can record directly into our platform. They could also upload a video themselves. Another thing that happens quite often is when coaches, they may just want to upload a video for a student, in which case you could do as well and send the video back. So it could be either a performance that they had competed in. It could be a practice that was recorded. You had just taped it and uploaded it onto the platform and sent it back for them to get further feedback. There's a lot of different ways.
If they recorded themselves practicing on their phone, then they could upload that from their phone.
Yeah, so it's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point and something that we're actively investigating, which is the mobile component of this. So right now, everything here is desktop. And so one of the reasons for that is, we wanted to first and foremost validate just how much the desktop platform would be used at all before, because it's a whole different component to build out. So right now, what a student would have to do is record on their phone and then upload the video file to our platform. Or they could record on their mobile web. That's certainly possible, but we don't have an app yet for them to kind of upload like that. So we've been essentially kind of encouraging our users, and they've been doing this themselves, is to take Zoom recordings or upload recordings and just upload them onto the platform for further analysis. Yeah.
And does the transcript get created like instantaneously? Is there a lag?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a lag. So if it's like a 30-minute video, like it might take like 15 to 20 minutes fully. But so you just leave the tab open, but it shouldn't take, much longer than that, frankly, from what we've seen. So it's more like, it's not something where you can do it live, right? You don't want to be leveraging this for a live practice and relying on getting the transcription in real time. That's why we've been leaning in on the asynchronous format of coaching, where you take the video, you let it upload on its own, and then you can provide the feedback.
And is there a limit in terms of speed, like how fast people can talk that it will handle?
Yeah, we've seen that above a 170, 180 words per minute, it's tougher to pick. So there's certain, I mean, I'm not sure how Ohio does it with debate in certain instances, but there's certain events where people are talking very,
Yeah.
very fast. It's not going to pick that up. And
Right.
so we're just going to be realistic with that. Frankly, like all of our customers, schools, they don't teach debate that way. So it hasn't been an issue, but it is something to keep in mind.
Okay.
So anyway, I would just say that like from a student's perspective, they would have a section for their prompts to record. There would also be a section here for submissions that to be reviewed. So it could be, this is the column where all the coaches' feedback is put for the students to see in one place. And then of course, all of their videos here, which they can review in their own time. But essentially, it's just a really easy way for coaches, for students to streamline feedback, especially from live practices. So I will lastly just kind of walk you through one piece, which is going back here. You know, if you wanted to as well, if you're, I'd say another very common use case is having students learn from each other, right? Because if you're a coach and you've got a million things going on, you just can't give everyone the one-on-one attention. So the way some of our coaches have gone about that is if they either have a really great example performance from a particular student that's done something really well, they will actually take that recording themselves and they can go back into their, so this could be the coach has their own dashboard. This is Alicia's view, but you can imagine a coach having a very similar dashboard. They could go in and just upload the video from a particular student who's done well, and then document key points of feedback that they then send to all of their students, highlight in person. So then they actually would go over what was given in feedback and they would review it together with their students as a way to essentially just get everyone on the same page on some best practices from previous performances. That has been incredibly effective when it comes to engaging students, you know, to your point, Peter, like make sure the feedback lands. Doing this outside of the session and then coming back to a live session with a full walkthrough with your class or with a group of your class is one way that we've seen it actually work really well, because then students will want to look at that feedback after the session themselves and they'll come back with questions. So just wanted to say, like, core use cases, like coaches upload practice videos, coaches upload great example videos, even performances, and this will essentially transcribe and give rich forms of feedback. Cool. Anyway, I didn't want to take up too much time. I just wanted to go through some of the highlights. There's certainly other things, but I'll stop sharing. And that is essentially the key pieces. Any additional feedback or questions that you have from what you've seen? Would love to get your sense on what's maybe interesting about it or what is not.
What are your packages? What do those look like?
Yeah, so right now what we are doing is we're going by an annual, like a whole school license. So right now we're charging $750 for a full school license to use it for the year, which can go across up to 200 students at a time. So it's actually, relatively speaking, from some competitors that do this much cheaper, where they charge like $30 a student. We also do smaller packages where it could be by the semester, in which case you could do it for up to, I think, 100 students. We do it at $200 for the semester. So you could, or sorry, $400 for the semester. I misspoke there. So you could sort of break it out that way. But we're flexible, and we actually kind of take it on a case by case basis too. So depending on the school's needs, we can work through certain things too.
Yeah, because in Ohio, our season is typically like late October to early March.
Yeah.
So I mean, could that be a semester as opposed to like, there's no, like, we don't really need it like
outside of that
after then really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that would for sure constitute we could do a semester-based system for that, where it is 400 for that period of time, because it is essentially a 6-month period, which is intended for the semester. So yeah, absolutely, that could be one way that works. So we, yeah, and I would say just in general, like we're a company that's very like lean, scrappy, and trying to get feedback as much as possible from programs like yourself. My email is preston@tigertalk.io, preston@tigertalk.io. I'll just put it in the chat and leave it for others to take in as well. And my name is Preston Chin. So if you ever wanted to reach out to me and just follow up on some of that stuff, we'd be happy to kind of get you started. And yeah, like frankly, we're also offering some special discount for for programs. So depending on, we do it on a referral basis. So actually, if you're able to successfully refer a program to use TigerTalk in a similar capacity, that way you would get $50 taken off of the fee. So it would just be another way of like promoting it a little bit more. And so that's something I would just kind of encourage to you, is like, if you're intrigued by it, for sure, spread the word. We're definitely trying to get our name more out there.
I know that changes from when we did the beta testing meeting, like they're so much more than that initial round when we met
Yeah.
Was it almost a year ago?
Yeah, exactly. About a year ago. So we've completely revamped it to have more video, improved transcription. Jody saw this like at its infancy when we were just testing this on a few students that we knew. And we only had audio at the time. So we've definitely revamped the platform, and yeah, now we're serving tons of different schools and corporate training firms across the country. So anyway, that's a little bit about us.
So you think for the semester it would be $400 and like up to about 100 students?
Yeah, we have it at 100 students for now. And I think
my team's much smaller than that, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, for sure. We kept it, we have like a very like safe buffer just in case, like, for certain programs, but like you said, usually it doesn't get that high.
Peter, I'll trade you. I have a team of 1.
Anyway, well, I guess just want to be cognizant of time and be respectful of yours. It's been a pleasure to meet you guys both, Peter, Marissa, Jody again. I would just say if anything comes up, you have my email. But yeah, I would love to speak with you guys more if you're interested about this. And please help spread the word.
So if we want to go ahead, do we just contact you by email, or?
Please, yeah, I should have been more clear. Just contact me via email.